Hello everyone. Dr. Arun, sir, a very good evening. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yes.
Your voice is
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So, dear participants and our resource person, Dr. Arun, sir, a very good evening and good afternoon to each and everyone, depending on your time zone, because we have many participants from outside the country. So, maybe good evening or good afternoon. So before moving to our research-oriented program, I would like to introduce the organization and our respected resource person, Dr. Arun Mishra, sir. So let me introduce myself first. So my name is Praveen Kumar KS, one of the founder and director of A2Z Edu Learning Hub LLP. It's a registered organization, it's a company under the Government of India. And like most of you, or majority of you, I'm also working as an assistant professor in the Department of Computer Application, PG Department of Computer Applications, SNGIST group of institutions, Kochi, Kerala, for the past 13 years. And one of the and associating with this organization. So when it comes to this organization, A2Z Edu Learning Hub, it is built by a group of academicians. It's 4 years back, and now we operate under 3 divisions: research and development, the first one, and second one project, and third one academic. So when we talk about the academic, this division, the academic division, held by the professor, and we organize different programs for the UG and PG students in terms of certificate courses, RN courses, and other soft skill training and much more. Most of the programs for the students are free of cost, and some of they are paid one in connections with some universities and other organizations. So the project division means it is a software development department under the same company. It is headed by software development team as a professional from the industry sector, and we are developing different softwares for the organizations and some of the other NGOs or programs. It's entirely different from the academic sector. When it comes to research and development, it is one of the most active session of Department of A2Z Edu Learning Hub, and almost 1,400 plus active members of this service under this department. In most of their research scholars or from the academic sector and we are continuously helping the people, especially the faculty members, to develop the research problems, find out the solutions and publications, and much more things. Most of the things are connected with the research, and also helping them to publish their articles, books, publications. And we have a publication department in connection with the research and development, and all the activities for the benefit of the research scholars and the faculty members. And also we are undertaking some of the projects from some other NGOs and government-related bodies for data analysis and all. So it is one of the biggest department of A2Z Edu Learning Hub. So that is a small account of A2Z Edu Learning Hub. This particular type of program, that is a research-oriented webinars, we are continuously organizing this webinar. This is a second series. So every month we have a training session or webinar session like this. So it's going like that. So there is a small account or brief summary of A2Z Edu Learning Hub. So let me come to our today's resource person, Dr. Arun K. Mishra, Professor Arun K. Mishra. Dr. Arun K. Mishra completed BPharm and MPharm from UP Technical University in 2006 and 9 respectively, and he has completed a PhD in pharmacy, and also he's also having 13 years of teaching experience under different UG and PG level, and currently he's working as a professor of AFMT University. And under his supervision, he's also research grade. Under his supervision, 7 students have been awarded the PhD, and 2 students currently submitted their PhD theses and they are waiting for the award ceremony, awarding function. And 6 other candidates or say scholars are pursuing their PhD under his guidance. When come to his area of expertise or interest, he's very interest area of expert in analytical chemistry, dermatology, synthetic medical chemistry, natural product chemistry, and nanotechnology based formulations. And also he has published or got published 2 Indian patents and must publish many more journals related to pharmaceutical industry. Most of the journals are indexed in very reputed indexed journals in SCI's corpus and all. So, and at present he is working as a professor. As I told that he's working as a professor of IFMT University, and also also engaged as an administrative work as a dean and student welfare of the same university. With much more pleasure, much more interest, I would like to welcome Dr. Arun Kumar Mishra for this training program. Welcome you, sir, on behalf of the participants and I2C and the Technology Institute of Biotechnological Research. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. And I hope I would be audible.
Yes, sir. You are perfectly fine. Let me welcome the other participants too, sir. Then we can move to your session.
Yeah.
So
From
with
the
great pleasure. Yes, my sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much for
Okay.
introduction.
So with great pleasure, I would like to welcome with the single words all other participants to this training. So you can interact in between with the chat, and the last we can have a Q&A session. So in that time we can enable the audio for you. So have a great I wish a great fruitful session to you, sir. Now it's your turn. So
Thank you. Thank you, sir. And first of all, I would like to give you a special thanks for inviting me and providing me the chance to deliver the content, whatever I am familiar with. So far as COVID-19 is concerned, I think entire globe is being facing plenty of the challenges, either kind of health problem, either the problems is related with the education sector and various other sectors as well. COVID-19 has impacted not only the health system, but due to this, the educational system, the food industry, the medicine industry, and other various other corporate units has also been badly impacted. So far as my background is from pharmacy, so it's very important segment, and I would like to draw my findings and my observations with special reference to the pharmaceutical sciences in COVID-19 time. So first of all, I would like to share my screen so that whatever the content I wish to show you can be visible to you all. I hope the screen would be visible.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Just yes. So when we are talking about COVID-19, first of all, I would like to share some brief introduction about the COVID-19, so that the audience may say some of the audience would be from pharma background and some of the audience would be definitely from science or some other stream also. So now it's time to discuss what exactly is the COVID-19. COVID-19 is also called as coronavirus, which is a kind of virus that causes an infection in your nose, sinus, and upper throat. In early 2020 and after December 2019 outbreak, which was held in China, World Health Organization identified this problem as SARS-CoV-2 as a new type of coronavirus. The outbreak quickly spread around the world, and this problem was turned into the pandemic. Entire globe was affected. Even in the second wave of COVID-19, I think no one would be in a way that his or her relative, family members or any neighborhood would not be impacted, badly impacted. Some sort of tragedy, some sort of critical health problems definitely would be in all of us family. We would be familiar. So COVID-19, what exactly was? Is a disease which was caused by SARS-CoV-2 that can trigger what doctors called a respiratory tract infection. Here, I would like to say that in initial phase of this pandemic, this SARS-CoV-2 was identified as a respiratory tract infection, but later on this was termed as COVID-19, and this particular disease could affect our respiratory tract. In special terms, we can say the sinus, nose, and upper throat was badly impacted due to this COVID-19. And not only the upper respiratory tract, but the lower respiratory tract, including windpipe and the lungs, were also badly impacted. In the first phase, when COVID-19...
excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Excuse me, sir. Are you changing any PPT? It's not moving.
I hope now
only the first slide is showing.
Now
something like our poster.
I have shared the slide. I know. Just a second.
You just shared, but it is only the first slide is showing.
Just I'm checking, sir. I think the screen. I think the.
Now can you make it a full screen, sir, in the presentation mode?
Yeah. Right now, this is in presentation mode.
It's not in a presentation mode, sir. I think so.
I think I should try to again the share, no? Just
yes,
I'm doing again.
Yes, 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 yes.
Is it sir full
Yes,
screen?
It's not in the full screen right now.
I don't know what is the problem.
Sir, can you just share the entire screen so that the things may be correct? I think you're sharing the file only.
No, I'm sharing my full screen, sir. Here slide slow I have clicked, but I don't know why this is not.
It's not getting in the full screen, sir.
Just I'm trying again.
Okay.
Why? Screen is not moving. Here from my side, this presentation is in
full screen
mode, but I don't know why.
Can you just press F5 button? F5.
Yeah. Yes, I pressed F5. On my screen, it is moving.
No. Sir, you just stop sharing and try your entire screen.
Just a second, sir.
Then share entire screen.
Here I'm able to see one participant can share one time. Multiple host.
Sir, just click on the up arrow, then you can see the screen share. Screen option is there. Screen. Click on screen share.
Yeah, I got, sir.
Okay.
Is it?
Yes, sir. Now it's fine. Now it's fine.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay. Thank you.
Just try to next. It's not moving, sir.
Is it moving?
Yes, it's coming.
Okay,
Fine.
Thank you. So
now you are showing some yes, live, right?
Exactly. I'm showing.
Yes, fine, sir. Fine.
Some radiations are reaching to the body.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
So we were discussing about the basics of coronavirus, that was called as COVID-19. COVID-19 has led to some sort of serious illness and even death in younger and middle-aged adults who are otherwise healthy. From outer appearance, the people were having a look of healthy person, but some sort of COVID-19 stain was in their respiratory tract, and the immunity system was facing challenges, and the people were diagnosed as COVID-19. Say two kind of two kind of people were identified. A person who is of symptomatic and one is of asymptomatic. In case of symptomatic persons, all the signs and symptoms of COVID-19 were visible, were appearing, and were quite observable. But in case of asymptomatic persons, any kind of sign and symptom of COVID-19 was not identifiable. So while most children have mild and no symptoms, and some of the children were also gotten severely ill. So as with adults, even if children have no symptoms, they were also equally capable to spread the virus to others. While most people recover in a matter of weeks, some adults and children experience post-COVID-19 conditions. This post-COVID-19 condition was called as long COVID. Why? Because this was taking rather more time than the normal time to spread and get recovery as well. So which can appear in week after infection and can include a range of new and returning or some sort of ongoing health problems as well. These were ranging from general fatigue and muscle pain to an extreme cases of autoimmune conditions and severe problem like multi-system infective syndrome, which was a condition where different body parts become swollen. So due to all these problems, the government of India and various other government of other nations declared some sort of the preventive measures. So before going to know what exactly are the preventive measures, first of all, our emphasis must be that how this COVID-19 is spreading. What were other modes of the transmissions? So sneezing and coughing by some infectious persons may lead to COVID-19 condition. The infected droplets arising from the infected persons, if these infected droplets are getting in contact with one-to-one approach by touching the hand and by shaking the hand and from surface to another surface, this virus was transferring. By sneezing, coughing, and by the infected droplets, the fellow were getting infected and the COVID-19 was transmitting. So this is general mode of transmission. So it is always advised. I hope slide will be moving now. Okay. So
Yes, sir, it's fine.
okay. So now, so these are the precautions. And so far as COVID-19 condition is concerned, being a important and civilized citizen of our nation, because we will follow the precautions and the guidelines when we will know what are the various dreadful conditions which can arise. The symptoms of COVID-19 which were general and appearing in general were shortness of the breath. The people being infected due to COVID-19 were not able to have a good breath. The total length of breath was quite shortened. The general body temperature was disturbed, and the persons who were infected due to this COVID-19 were facing high fever. Vomiting was one of the sign and symptom, but this vomiting as a general symptom was not common. Only 40 to 45% of persons infected due to this coronavirus were having problem of vomiting. Most of the persons which were severely infected due to this coronavirus were having signs and symptoms quite similar with the pneumonia. Coughing and diarrhea were also common symptom, but so far as diarrhea is concerned, the symptom of diarrhea were very in very few of the persons. So these are the precautions and these are the signs and symptoms of COVID-19. So we should think that how this COVID-19 is spreading by breathing in air when we are in close contact with one of the infected person who is exhaling, not inhaling, exhaling small droplets and particles that contain the virus. If we are having these droplets and particles land on our eyes, nose and mouth, if we are touching the eyes, nose and mouth with hands that have the virus on them, it means if any of the surface which is contaminated due to this virus is getting in close contact with us, this easily can lead to the spreading of COVID-19. So it is advisable that if the more closely we interact with others and longer is that interaction, there are every likely chances of higher risk of the COVID-19 spreading. And one thing is more advised that indoor spaces are more risky than outdoor spaces. If we are in close contact and the room is closed, definitely the chances of contamination and getting infected is more. This deadly virus, this pandemic virus is quite able to lead the pneumonia-like condition, in which the level of oxygen was quite low. Respiratory failure was one of the important symptoms which were quite visible in many of the persons. Heart problems and liver problems were also very common. Septic shock, and number of the people were facing the severity of this COVID-19 and that this severity was leading to the death also. Many COVID-19 complications may be caused by a condition which is also called as cytokine storm. This cytokine is one of the histamine, the inflammatory marker, which is also available into the blood system, and as a COVID-19 complicated system, as a sign and symptom of COVID-19 complexity, the level of cytokine in the blood was beyond the normal range, and this increased level of cytokine was called as cytokine storm, which is also called as cytokine release syndrome. So in that cases, antihistaminic are the agents which can reduce the release of cytokine were preferred. Many of the physicians were prescribing antihistaminic drugs also. The reason and the rationale behind prescription of the antihistaminic drugs may be this cytokine release syndrome, because they were having a target to inhibit the increased level of cytokine. This is when an infection triggers our immune system to flood our bloodstream with inflammatory proteins, which is also called as cytokines. They can kill the tissue and damage our organs, and in some cases the lungs are badly impacted in a way that lung transplant has also been recommended, and it is very crucial, very critical and very tough, as well as it is very money consuming a process of lung transplantation, and it is rarely available. So if we notice any kind of symptom, any kind of severity, any kind of such problems in ourselves or our loved ones, medical help is immediate required, and attention is to be laid on important guidelines which has been issued by the government. If any of our loved ones is facing trouble in breathing, is facing reduced oxygen level, or if he or she is facing shortness of the breath, if continuous chest pain, or a person is feeling like pressure on his or her chest, a condition of confusion, if the fellow is not able to walk himself, and bluish lips. Strokes have also been reported in some of the fellows who are facing the COVID-19 problem. So it is our duty to seek medical attention, to ask with the pharmacist and other healthcare professionals with an aim to save the life, with an aim to prevent the spread of COVID-19. So according to the researchers and the data available, a survey has been conducted that out of all these signs and symptoms of COVID-19, how many of the infected persons are facing fever, how many of us are facing fatigue, cough, lack of appetite, body ache, and shortness of breath, as well as mucus and phlegm problem. So in 99% of the persons infected due to COVID-19 were facing fever, 70% were facing fatigue, 59% were facing cough, and 40% were having lack of appetite. And in some of 35% of the persons infected due to COVID-19 were feeling body ache, 31% of the fellows were having shortness of breath, 27% of the fellows were having mucus problems. And in all the COVID-19 cases, hospitalization was not necessary. Only some of the persons infected due to COVID-19 were hospitalized to have treatment, but some of the critically and severely ill persons of the COVID-19 were having dangerous blood clots also. This was also one of the very problematic condition, dangerous blood clot. And you would be surprisingly know that out of 100%, out of 100 cases of death due to COVID-19, around 40%, 30 to 40% were due to congestive heart failure. And the reason behind this CHF was blockage of coronary arteries and blockage of blood circulatory system due to the blood clot. This clot may be observed in their legs, lungs, and arteries. So when thinking about this COVID-19, we have to know that this disease is called as COVID-19, and the virus which exactly is responsible for this COVID-19 is HCOV-19, also called as 219 nCoV, and most commonly it is also called as SARS-CoV-2. I hope up to this you all would be familiar, but I would like to draw some attention over how this coronavirus looks like. In the screen, I have tried to show you the actual picture, actual image of this coronavirus, in which 7 parts are there. 7 important parts of this coronavirus structure is there. The one is spike glycoprotein, second is lipid membrane, envelope protein, membrane protein, single stranded RNA, and nucleocapsid protein. The outermost surface of this coronavirus is spike glycoprotein, and this spike glycoprotein is very much responsible for adherence with the humans. And another is lipid membrane, and this bilayer lipid membrane is holding this spike glycoprotein. In between the lipid membrane, the protein envelope is also there, which has been depicted as E, and some bluish color has also been depicted into this coronavirus structure, which is called as membrane protein, that has been depicted as M. In this spike glycoprotein and lipid membrane coverage, inside, the main responsible agent, single stranded RNA is there, and this single stranded RNA, in between this ssRNA, nucleocapsid protein is there, which has been depicted like N. Generally, the researchers of pharma field and biotechnology field are emphasizing a fact that any of the medicine, any of the treatment which can diminish this spike glycoprotein, which can absolutely abolish this spike glycoprotein. If this spike glycoprotein has been diminished, the attachment of this coronavirus to the human surface or the biological fluid which is going to inside of the human being will not be possible. So our target of discovery should be inhibiting this spike glycoprotein, damaging this spike glycoprotein. And you would be very much familiar that in always it has been recommended that yes, bar haath dhona, we have to wash our hand frequently. The recommendation of washing our hands frequently is because soap is having a potential to break through this lipid membrane. Lipid bilayer is disturbed by the soap, and due to this the biological fluid, the coronavirus will die. This will not be grown, and this spike glycoprotein, it is important to have an attachment to the human cell receptors in upper or respiratory lower airways. So if the medicine is quite able to damage this spike glycoprotein, this virus will not be able to get attached with the human surface. The 7 human coronavirus has been reported till, and in the picture, in the diagram, I have tried to show you the various alpha and beta coronavirus strain. Alpha is of subtype HCOV 229E, HCOV NL63, and in beta strain HCOV HKU1, HCOVO C43, and the most dangerous and infectious was SARS-CoV-2, SARS-CoV-2. This was causing problem and the entire globe was affected. When discussing about the various common variants of coronavirus, which was important to have emphasis, is called as alpha, beta, gamma, delta, and omicron. This alpha strain of this COVID-19 started in May 2020, reported from UK, and its spreading is more easily. The beta 1.351 started its origination, it started its spreading since August 2020, and the country was South Africa firstly impacted, and it spreads more easily and some vaccines may be less effective against it. The gamma, that is also notated as P.1 gamma, it came into its existence and the people get infected in November 2020. The country which were initially impacted was Brazil. It started to spread more easily and some vaccines may be less effective against the P.1 gamma. The Delta variant, very much deadly, started its peak in October 2020. It spreads very easily. The symptom of this Delta virus is very common and may present differently. This may reduce the vaccine efficacy and still protection against severe disease. And so far as Omicron is concerned, in November 21, 2 months before, this started spreading in multiple countries, and early studies show that it spreads more easily. But the persons who have been vaccinated against the COVID-19 were having quite lesser impact of this deadly strain. So it is always advisable to get vaccinated. This coronavirus and in general all other viruses are known to change constantly, and by the end of 2021, so far as COVID-19 is concerned, multiple coronavirus variants may possibly emerge in 2022. Scientists are working to learn more about these variants and their mode of transmission and the spread as well. And they are also emphasizing and trying to know how they could affect the severity of illness in people who get this virus. They have been studying the Delta and Omicron strain of this COVID-19 closely since they surfaced it. There is also more to learn that how long the vaccine can protect the people. Because in every advisory, every pamphlet, every guidelines, it is advised that get vaccinated. Because from this platform also, I would like to say that yes, vaccination is quite important, very important, because the persons who are vaccinated against this COVID-19 are facing very less chance of mortality and morbidity. In the second wave of COVID-19, which is also a communicable disease and swept all over the world, resulting into the morbidity and mortality both. According to the WHO report, the cases of death, means mortality, were high in those fellows which were having comorbidities. Like if a person is having a diabetes mellitus like symptom, or if he or she is diabetic, if the person is hypertensive, if the fellow is facing chronic kidney diseases and cancer as well, in that case there are more chances that the mortality may be. So during COVID-19 pandemic situation, number of people, number of family were affected, and in the limited resources, health services for providing non-communicable diseases drugs in the routine way got hindered due to complete lockdown, due to absolute engagement of the doctors and paramedical staff into the treatment of COVID-19 patients, and all other hospitals machinery were involved into the treatment of COVID-19, because this COVID-19 was spreading very rapidly and was a communicable disease. So the health services to provide the better facilities to the non-communicable disease were get badly impacted also. So if this COVID-19 is creating this much level of problem, if this is so much deadly, yes, it is. So we should follow the COVID appropriate behavior. We must comply the guidelines and the suggestions which has been laid by the health department and health unit as well. So our emphasis should be that what are the COVID appropriate behaviors which is to be followed? First of all, we must use mask, because coughing and sneezing can cause spreading of these droplets, and if a person is getting infected, he or she may again spread the infection to other in a crowded places. So second appropriate behavior is avoid going to the hotels, avoid going to the crowded places and in the rush areas. And if we are not complying this COVID appropriate behavior, not only we, but our family members are also at the risk, because our droplets, the surfaces which we are touching can impact to others as well. And if we are not following the proper behavior, our elder persons, our family members who are aged, and the fellows and the family members who are having comorbidity like diabetes and hypertension, they are also at higher risk due to our bad habit. So first of all, we should follow the guidelines and COVID appropriate behavior. The appropriate behavior and the guidelines which has been issued by the government of India and various other government as well are we should wear the mask in a very proper way. We should wash our hands after certain period of time. We must maintain a safe distance. So far as safe distance is concerned, in general, we have to maintain a gap of 6 feet, that is 2 gaj. So this will definitely help to prevent the spreading of COVID-19. So far as hand wash is concerned, we have been advised that after certain period of time, at a certain interval, frequently we should wash our hands. But doing a formality is not important. The important is to wash our hands in a very proper way. We should spend at least 1 minute time in hand wash, and after getting the liquid soap or any liquid detergent which we are going to rub, we should rub in a way that soap or any detergent which is being used to wash the hand should get spread. And all the corners of our hands, even the middle spaces between our fingers, must be rubbed with the soap so that any kind of contamination, if it is there in our hands, get up cleaned, because glycoprotein bilayer is being damaged due to this soap. So hand washing is very important, and WHO has issued some guidelines, some certain procedurals which is to be followed while washing the hands. In the picture I have tried to depict this. It means hand wash, getting vaccinated, wearing the mask, and following a social distance of 6 feet, that is 2 gaj, is important. And if we are following all these guidelines and taking and getting vaccinated in time, definitely we can help to achieve the COVID-free nation. We can absolutely diminish, we can absolutely quench the cases of COVID-19. We could get healthy. So first of all, it is advised that we should wear mask. In the picture, in this slide, I have tried to show what are the differences between different kind of mask. Various persons are saying that I am using this mask, I am using that mask, I am using 2 masks, I am using only 1 mask, I'm using surgical mask, I'm using N95 mask. So in this slide, you could see that double mask is offering 95% of the protection against spread of COVID-19 as per studies. And experts are suggesting that a layer cloth mask over a surgical mask is very good for best measure, or use an N95 mask with another kind. So don't layer up a cloth mask, because cloth mask is not again singly appropriate over one with a filter either. Ensure that you select a mask that has double, triple layers or fabric in it. Don't layer 2 masks of the same kind. Don't use 2 surgical masks or 2 disposable masks over one another, because the efficacy of one mask is equal to another mask if we are using similar kind of surgical mask. So don't use the mask if they are visibly solid or dirty particulate material on that. We must use the mask which should be clean, which should be sanitized, or which should be opened from a packet. If the mask is open, definitely the air particles and various other infectious particulate matter would be adhering on that. So we should discard. And if we wear a mask on which some spots are there, some some dirty particles are there. Look, in appearance, it is not looking very clean. Immediately we should discard, and it would be very good to use one surgical mask and one N95 mask. This would be very good. Or if we can use a cloth mask and a surgical mask, this will be equally effective. Yesterday I was in Central Laboratory Bureau of Indian Standard, and you'd be pleased to know that Government of India has issued the guidelines to wear the mask in which at least a surgical mask and a cloth mask is there. This N95 is indicating that 95% of the virus is strained and 95% protection can be achieved. So N95 is good in terms of protection, and if we are not able to purchase and procure this N95, it is advisable to use one cloth mask over a surgical mask. This would provide you a good protection against this COVID-19. So wearing a mask and maintaining a physical distance of at least 2 gauge or 6 feet. If we are using reusable handmade face cover or mask at all time, it is good and would be considered as COVID appropriate behavior. If you are avoiding the touching of eyes, nose and mouth, this is also one kind of COVID appropriate behavior. Another is we are maintaining the respiratory hygiene. We are washing our hands frequently and thoroughly and exactly as per the guidelines suggested by the WHO. If we are regularly cleaning and disinfecting the frequently touched surfaces like lift, like ramp, like the railings, and being an important and civilized persons, if you are not spitting into the open area, this is also one kind of COVID appropriate behavior. It is advised to avoid the travel, because if we are traveling in a train or bus, definitely it would be crowded space. So we should avoid the unnecessary travel. We should not discriminate against anyone. We should do all the necessary we should follow all the necessary guidelines. And one thing is very important, because phobia is also creating problem. Persons are facing depression. Psychological disturbances are also being faced by a number of persons. So psychological support, psychological counseling is equally important to make a person healthy. So if the person is psychologically disturbed, a person is having anxiety due to COVID-19 and other like conditions, he or she should be contacted, or he should approach to counselor, psychological counselor. And in case of health emergency like condition, in case of trouble in breathing and all these type of severity, the health toll-free number and various other ambulance and all the health department has issued some number we should contact to get immediate services, immediate help. During COVID-19 period, the two terms were very important. One was quarantine and one was isolation. Quarantine was to separate and restrict the movement of well persons who may have been exposed. This quarantine was to monitor and to see if they become ill. But isolation was for confirm the cases. The persons who were having confirmed COVID-19 RT-PCR test were suggested to get isolated. and the purpose of this isolation was to restrict the movement. In quarantine, the all family members in a family are living together in their family, in their home, but they are asked to have restricted interaction with other fellows of their neighbors. So this was called as quarantine, and this was isolation. Isolation is recommended in ill persons, but some important things are there which are to be considered. The first is, if the patient is stable enough to receive the care at home, if the separate bedroom in which bathroom is also recommended, it means if the room with attached bathroom facility is there, if access to food and other necessities are there, and appropriate caregivers are there, because in isolation caregivers are playing very appreciable role. So appropriate caregivers are there. In that case only isolation is recommended. The patient and other household members must have access to PPE kit, minimum gloves and masks at least, and are capable of adhering to the precautions. If the caregivers are not able to follow the respiratory hygiene, cough and basic etiquettes and hand hygiene, in that case isolation is not meaningful. So consider at risk population in home, because people at more than 65 years and young children, the pregnant women, immunocompromised and chronic heart and lung problem facing persons are at more risk. In earlier slide, already I have told that the persons with comorbidities are at high risk. A healthcare professional, in order to treat this COVID-19, should provide interim guidance for preventing coronavirus disease 1919 from spreading to others in home and communities, to the patients, to the caregivers and household members. So as a pharmacist and as a pharmacy fellow, it is one of the important responsibility of pharmacist in community, and a healthcare professional, especially pharmacists, nurses and doctors and other physicians, should contact their state and local health department to discuss the criteria for discontinuing such measures. Because when we have to stop the medicine, when we have to stop or we have to stop this isolation related protocols, so we must be familiar. So the responsibility of healthcare worker is very important. As COVID-19 pandemic has tested global health system to their limits, pharmacy professionals have shown themselves to be an integral part of them. In any of the healthcare system, pharmacists always play appreciable role, because since compounding of the medicine to the distributing the medicine, injecting the injectables, prescribing, even assisting into the prescription of this medicine to the doctors, manufacturing of the drugs, all these roles are important and they are being played by pharmacists. So far as pharmaceutical science and pharmacy field is concerned, this is very important field. And community pharmacist means the pharmacist who is directly in touch, in contact with the community, is providing service in broadest sense to the community is important. So community pharmacists ensure that patients continue to receive their medicine, because resistance is also one problem. If we are not taking our appropriate medicine at appropriate time, the level of drug cannot be maintained throughout in our blood. So at some places, when this healthcare system was facing plenty of the challenges, the pharmacy graduates and practicing pharmacy academics have been working hard on the front line to support the public during this pandemic time. So the role played by pharmacists is very important, and that cannot be ignored at any cost. Pharmacists around the world have continued to provide direct patient care, because in COVID-19 cases, it was a phobia that if we are going to give the medicine to our patient, we may get infected. It is always advised that if you are following all the appropriate guidelines and suggestions at a higher extent, it can be avoided the spreading of COVID-19. So as a pharmacist, the role played by pharmacists to dispense the drugs, to deliver the drug, to inject the drug, these all kind of work was highly appreciable. So community pharmacist has played important role in supporting the healthcare system during COVID-19, which includes delivering medications to the patients, educating patients on telehealth services, assessing patients for renewal of chronic medications, performing consultation on minor ailments, and clarifying the misconception about COVID-19 treatments, contributing to the COVID-19 screening as well. In the picture, I have tried to show the role played by pharmacists. This is very important because the pharmacists are playing important and integral role to prepare and obtain, store and secure, distribute and administer, dispense and dispose the medicinal product. Another role is to provide effective medication therapy management. The community pharmacists are maintaining and improving the professional performance as well. They are planning how the dose is to be administered, which particular pharmacist will be on duty, and the community pharmacists are contributing to improve the effectiveness of healthcare system and the public health, because these pharmacists are again integral part of healthcare system. So when we talk about COVID-19 times and the role of pharmacist, the pharmacist played very significant role as a follow-up care persons. The pharmacist assisted to promote pandemic control. The misconception were very much in the persons. So pharmacist was educating to the community at a large. Prescription authority for minor ailments were provided to the pharmacist. So by doing the work of prescription for minor ailments were one of the good thing which pharmacists did. And the availability of essential medicines were ensured by the pharmacist. Special care were given to the chronic disease patients with the help of pharmacist, and in the administration of vaccine, which is very important and very large scale work, was also assisted by the pharmacist. So pharmacist, especially in COVID-19 times, perform very good role, very significant role, and very appreciable role as well. The persons who were directly facing the challenges in hospitals were again hospital pharmacists also. So as a frontline hospital pharmacist, as a frontline worker, they were managing the drug shortage, because you would be familiar that when people came to know that yes, COVID-19 is spreading, the persons from medical store were purchasing number of the medicines to have a store in their home as well, because they were not knowing in case if the emergency is in their home, how they will procure from the medical store in routine way. They were purchasing 100 tablets of the ascorbic acid and other antioxidants and some antibiotics also, because in case if some emergency would be there, from where I will procure. This was misconception. This was in general a thought in the persons. So again, the frontline hospital pharmacists were working hard to manage the drug shortage at medical store and also at the other drug stores of the hospitals as well. Only the management of drug was not responsibility of the hospital pharmacist, but they also played a significant role in the development of treatment protocols. COVID-19 medication management was also one of the important work which was being managed by hospital pharmacists. So pharmacies as a compounding center where compounding activities and other changes into the formulations were made. Pharmacies as a pharmaceutical centers and clinical pharmacies were shifting from compounding to the prescribing activities, introduction of pre-manufactured proprietary medicines, gradual increase in non-prescribing activities, intersectoral collaborations, involvement in the evaluation of total cost of care, involvement in the performance measurement assessment. These were the works which were being done at pharmacy centers, at pharmacy networks, and this particularly pharmacy network related activities were maintained and monitored by pharmacists. Now, it is important to see how virtual practice became more prominent as face-to-face meeting became impossible. How pharmacist scope of practice has been extended, and how pharmaceutical education have been embraced digital technologies to teach and assess the students remotely. So far as we are having an interaction in which I am able to see that the participants are not only from India, but from other countries also. Due to this digital technology, we are connected to each other. We are getting shared our ideas. I'm able to share my experiences and the knowledge to you people all. So before this COVID-19, we were not familiar that we can do in this way. Being a pharmacy educator, we were not teaching through the online mode. We were absolutely dependent on classroom teaching in which face-to-face interaction was there. But due to this pandemic situation, not only our pharmacists, but other technocrats also emphasize that how this digital innovation can be inserted, how the digital technologies can be used to teach and to provide the knowledge database and other valuable important information to the student who are sitting at the remote locations. So this digital technology in pharmacy field has not only embraced the pharma education, but also has impacted the healthcare services. Because before this COVID-19, we were not familiar that we were not very much, in fact, we should say that we were not used to with the telehealth services. So how this COVID-19 pandemic has inculcated to use this telehealth services. This will prevent the emergency room from being overcrowded, because in second wave, I think based on your own experiences, you can think that yes, in the second wave, it was quite tough to get admission into the hospitals if any of our loved ones is facing problem. Hospitals were not having bed. There were so much crisis of the oxygen and oxygen cylinder into the hospitals that it was very Herculean task to manage a cylinder of oxygen. Even oxygen nebulizer and other necessary equipment which were at that time life-saving were critical, very tough to arrange. So this telehealth, even in hospitals, think in a way that if for non-communicable disease prescription, if person is visiting to the hospital, in the hospital, where already infected persons are admitted. So there are every chances that a non-communicable disease holding person may get infected and get diseased. So it was advised to use the telehealth services by teleconsultation services. So this telehealth services will not only inhibit the use of, will not only prevent